What's up, everybody? It is Luke Beller, and today we're going to be taking a look at a recent mock draft done by the Draft Network and sort of talk about the Packers picking wide receiver or getting wide receiver Kadarius Toney in this mock draft. I'm going to give my thoughts on a potential Packers wide receiver in the first round, sort of what I think about that. But if you guys are new to the channel, I put up Packers content 6 days a week, so if you would like to see that kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. First, I want to take a look sort of at the Packers wide receiver situation and would this make sense? I think taking a look back to 2019, in that draft, lots of people wanted to see the Packers come in and draft another weapon, to pair alongside Davante Adams. And of course, we know that didn't happen. Jordan Love was picked. But in the entire 2020 season, we saw that the Packers didn't necessarily need another weapon. Obviously, you can never, a wide receiver weapon obviously could have helped, but the Packers still were one of the best offenses in the NFL, the #1 scoring offense in the NFL in the 2020 season. So obviously, we did not need to draft a wide receiver. And so now coming to 2021, the question is, what should the Packers draft? Who should the Packers draft in the first round? And the wide receiver, I think, in Packers fans' minds, isn't necessarily the biggest need. I feel like that's a consensus of what I've seen from Packers fans. While on the other side, like people who necessarily aren't Packers fans seem to want the Packers to draft a wide receiver. So I sort of want to take a look at that entire situation. Would it make sense? Would it not make sense? If nothing was to change after 2021, we would have no wide receiver signed. So I think the first thing the Packers need to do in this offseason is to sign Davante Adams to a longer deal, because right now he's only signed through the 2021 season, and I think no Packers fan would have a problem with that. Davante Adams is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and the Packers definitely need to keep him around. And another reason the Packers should keep him around right now and sign him soon is just because basically signing him to a contract now would allow them to push the cap numbers a little bit farther into the future, freeing up some more cap space, which the Packers, definitely could use, considering we still are a little bit over the cap and we still have lots of moves to make. So I think that can make lots of sense. We definitely need to keep Davante Adams around. Then taking a look at Allen Lazard, he's scheduled to be an exclusive rights free agent this offseason. According to Over the Cap, they predict that, signing him to that tender would be about $850,000. So people expect, the Packers to keep Allen Lazard around just because he definitely has value, especially at that, cheap $850,000 contract. We saw in the 2020 season, even though he did miss like 6 games, I think it was, he had 33 receptions, 451 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And also, he's a great run blocker, probably one of the best run blockers at wide receiver on the Packers. And he definitely showed that he should stick around for the next couple seasons. So I'm expecting the Packers to sign him to that, sometime soon. And then we take a look at Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Currently, he is only signed through the 2021 season. And for the season, he's a $2.2 million cap number. And take a look at Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Packers fans, I feel like, have a love-hate relationship with Marquez Valdes-Scantling because, one play, he'll catch a nice, 60-yard touchdown pass. The next play, he'll drop that same 60-yard touchdown pass. And so, definitely at times it can be a little frustrating, but at the same time, he is a very talented deep threat wide receiver in the NFL. He actually led the wide receivers in the 2020 season when it came to yards per catch at 20.4 yards per catch. So he definitely opened up this Packers offense, and if he can, get those drops under control, he is going to continue to be dominant on this Packers team. Hopefully, he can figure that out. And I think at the end of that 2020 season, he seemed to be improving when it came, to catching the ball instead of dropping it. Hopefully, he can continue that improvement coming into the 2021 season. And one of the biggest problems for Allen Lazard and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, when you take a look at drop percentage in the NFL, if you take a look at players who had a minimum of 40 targets, Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Allen Lazard were both in the bottom 10 in the NFL. Marquez Valdes-Scantling was 4th with a drop percentage of 17.5%, and Allen Lazard was 8th worst with a drop percentage of 13.2%. So they definitely need to work on their ability to not drop the ball, and hopefully they can continue to improve in that. So now taking a look at Kadarius Toney, a 6'3", 193-pound wide receiver from Florida, and watching some of his highlights, he is exciting to watch. It's crazy the kinds of things he can do. He's like a human joystick. The way that he can just like get open. He does all these crazy moves. You got to go check out his highlights after this video. If you watch those highlights, you'll be like, wait, maybe I want the Packers to pick a wide receiver actually this year. But honestly, after watching this guy just from a pure fan perspective, it would just be insane to watch this guy on the Packers offense. Because if you go watch his highlights, the way that he separates from people, the way that he makes people fall down, his spin moves, his juking ability, his explosiveness, it's honestly insane. And I can't imagine having a guy like him in the slot for the Packers alongside, Davante Adams. So taking a look at his first 2 seasons in college, 2018, 2019, he honestly didn't really have that large of a role with the Florida offense just because they have lots of other wide receiver options. Their quarterback wasn't as great. Then coming to 2020, it was his breakout season. 70 receptions, 984 yards, and 10 touchdowns, and he also had 19 carries for 161 yards and a touchdown. And one other thing about his game, he only has 3 drops in 123 catchable passes, which for Aaron Rodgers would be very beneficial, considering, a few of his guys, aren't the best when it comes to drops in the NFL. So maybe he could be a guy that comes in, slot guy, gets open underneath, Aaron Rodgers, sling it to him. Kadarius Toney can do his crazy stuff that he does. So taking a look at what the Draft Network had to say about him, they say, Toney is an electric slot receiver who's continued to improve every season in Gainesville. He is much more satisfying than his size indicates because he's electric with or without the ball in his grasp. His ceiling as a route runner is a bit limited, but he is highly effective with the package that he was asked to run. Toney's presence is always felt whether or not he has the ball, as he makes defenses account for him even if he's strictly a motion player. Ideal role, starting wide receiver that can be used at multiple positions, but while at wide out, a bulk of his reps will come in the slot. So they, see him as a slot receiver. As I was reading, most people seem to think he would be great in the slot when it comes to the NFL, just because of his ability to basically get open underneath. And then here's some more thoughts from PFF. They say it's players like Toney who make football the greatest game in the world. The way he stops and starts in the blink of an eye is truly amazing to watch. He has the kind of flexibility and explosiveness in his lower half that allows him to break tackles in ways I've truly never seen before. It's why he broke 32 tackles on only 80 catches the past 2 seasons. More of a gadget player early in his career, Toney finally looked like a true receiver in 2020. He's not a polished route runner by any means, but he showed all the ability needed to separate consistently in the NFL. All right, so let's imagine it's just draft day, okay? Come there with me for a second. Let's imagine that the Packers pick Kadarius Toney. Like, how would I feel personally as a fan? Would I be excited? Would I be angry? How would I feel? And honestly, after watching this guy play, after watching some of his highlights, after, reading about what people had to say, I would honestly love it if they ended up going with Toney. Would it be, would it maybe be more beneficial for them to pick a cornerback, defensive tackle? Potentially, I think it could make more sense just because the defense is definitely our weaker side of the ball. But I would love as a fan to have Kadarius Toney on our team, to be able to pair him upside Devontae Adams. I'm guessing Aaron Rodgers would love the Packers picking him as well, because why would he not want a weapon like Kadarius Toney on this offense? So overall, maybe it's not the best pick, maybe it is. Personally, no matter who the Packers pick, I could see it somehow making sense, honestly, unless it's a quarterback. If the Packers picked a quarterback this year, I would just be insanely shocked, as most of you guys probably would. I don't think that's anywhere near possible of happening. But I think, honestly, picking a wide receiver, maybe it can make sense in the first round. Why not, make his Packers offense that much more explosive? But as always, I'll be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this guy in the comments. Do you think it's dumb to pick a wide receiver? Do you like the idea? Would you rather just pick a defensive player? I'll be curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, feel free to like it down below. It really just helps push the video out to more people. And if you want to see more Packers content, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications. But thank you guys so much for watching as always. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.